Welcome to Thursday Checkdown. I'm your host, Greg Kellogg. My typical co-host, Tipp Major, could not make it tonight. He had to take his dog to the vet. They got a mass. They found it. They're going to treat it with chemicals, so it's good news thus far, no surgery. But instead, I'm joined by IDP Iggy. Iggy,
hey, what's up, Greg?
Tell us about yourself, buddy. Tell our audience.
Hey, man, just happy to be here. Getting into it. In my opinion, the rookie season, after the draft, the fantasy football season really begins. And co-founder here at TSA, lover of fantasy football, particularly with defense, and really enjoy my guy right here, Mauricio, man. Thank you for being with us today.
Mauricio, tell us about yourself.
Oh, thank you, Greg. Iggy, so happy to be with you guys to talk about my background, how do I start in the industry, and of course, we can talk football and fantasy as well. Well, I'm the head content of fantasy football at NFL Fantasy in Español. It depends from NFL Mexico, and I'm in charge of not all the content, but oversees all the content that we generate from Twitter, articles, videos, podcasts, etc.
Okay, and we met at the Fantasy Football Expo.
Yeah.
So this is the exact reason that all of you out there should get to the expo this year. Mauricio is going to be there. I also made an online friend with Gemma Martinez, who Mauricio informs me I can't pick up because I'm married, and it's his wife, so she's taken. But those Latino women, I married an Ortiz. So I'm telling you. Anyway, Mauricio, I just have to ask you. You were talking a little bit off screen, about an international Kings Classic. Before we get into your history, explain what an international Kings Classic is.
Well, I think that 4 years ago, Bob Long started an international Kings Classic league. I was part of that league, but sometimes I have been moved to the George Blanda division to draft live at Canton, Ohio at the Football Expo. That draft is online. It's composed of 7 U.S. participants and 7 international participants. We have guys from Brazil, South Africa, England, Australia. It's really amazing. France, I think. It's really amazing how fantasy football has grown outside the U.S.
Yeah, and it's an honor to be in the Kings Classic. I'm in the member as well with the IDP Classic. You play with some heavyweights. You've been playing in the Blanda division, correct? There's a Jim Brown, the George Blanda, and then us with the Dick Buckus, and then the Queens Classic as well. How has your experience been, and how many years have you been in the Kings Classic, and how have you fared in all your years there?
I've been playing at the Kings Classic 4 times. Last year was my 4th. And after doing it really well, sometimes and in some formats, because our Kings Classic have 2 formats. We have the snake draft and the auction draft. And this year, last season, finally I won a league. The Kings Classic Auction League. I won it. I'm really ecstatic. I'm waiting for my belt to come home to exhibit it here, because you have to brag about it, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm planning, Iggy, Greg, to make a Kings Classic parade in Canton, Ohio during the Fantasy Football Expo. from the hotel to the.
Are you going to do a rumba parade where you do the rumba dance while you're parading?
We can dance, of course. It's a party parade. Of course, we can dance.
Are you doing it to the Centennial? Are you doing it to the Centennial Plaza? On the party
from
night?
The hotel to the Centennial Plaza on Friday night. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got to get there early for that. I don't walk that far, but I think I might make an exception for that, and I'll just make Iggy and JC push me in a wheelchair if I have to.
Let's go, Rick. Of course.
Hey, listen, before we get any further, have you participated in Scott Fish Bowl?
Yeah, of course. actually, we are going to have a live draft at Mexico City, a Scott Fishbowl live draft at Mexico City for second year in a row.
And you and Gemma are actually managing that,
Himma,
right?
Yeah,
Himma.
and also two other guys, Alejandro Orellana and Chato Romero. They are also planning it.
And you and Gemma are going to LA to do your
Yeah.
own live draft.
Yeah, that's right.
So the reason I brought that up is Scott Fish is a longtime friend of mine. We've known each other for probably 2 decades now. And he gifted us with a golden ticket. You know the term
Yeah.
golden ticket?
Of
So
course.
at the end of the day, I'm going to be asking a question, and it's going to have a Michigan basis. And when I ask the question, the people in the audience who are not in the Scott Fish Bowl have not received their invitation, they can enter, and then JC will run what we call a duck race. I find it silly, but it's kind of exciting. The ladies did it last night, and anybody that answers the question, I don't even care if you get the spelling wrong, but I'm going to ask you the last name of a Michigan player that got drafted this year. And if you put that in, I think JC will probably give you 2 minutes to get it in. You get entered into that, and then a random person will be chosen. But
That's
now
fantastic.
let's go back to you. What got you into fantasy football? That's not something I think of for a Mexican sport. Football, yeah. Football, no.
The thing, Greg, is we don't have actually a fantasy soccer platform here in Mexico. So the access to fantasy sports for me was through NFL. I was in 2001. I was playing a soccer manager game that was called Hat Trick, where you have a fake team, fake players. Everything was fake, but you were the head coach, the owner, and the administrator of that team. And through that, once I was really on NFL, I was like, there should be something similar from this game to NFL. And I started digging in the internet and I found fantasy football. I found public leagues from NFL.com and I started playing and I was like mind blowing. It changed my life. Well, many years after, I know it changed my life. In that moment, it was only my hobby and something that distracted me and attracted me more to the game, and it was amazing. Then after probably 3 years of playing in public leagues, I found some friends in Guadalajara, Mexico, that were playing fantasy football as well, and we did fantasy football league, and we did the live draft, and that was the moment I really got into fantasy football.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Mauricio. I do have a question for you. How long ago did you say that was when you started playing? When you were like before Guadalajara. How long ago was that?
Well, when I started playing the soccer manager game, it was 2001 probably, and then I started to play fantasy football in 2003 probably, and I started to generate content until 2013.
Okay, yeah. So 2003 to now. Here's the question I had for you. I want to see if my translation works. I was gonna try to read it, but I don't want my poor Spanish. I need another one tequila in me before I can really speak Spanish. But here we
Drop
go.
that tequila, man.
Did you understand that?
Yeah, that how's the Latin American fans grow since then to now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, until now. It's been amazing, man. Not only fantasy football wise, but NFL wise. The last numbers we have at NFL is that roughly 36% of Mexican population are interested in some way to the NFL. And that numbers give us like 36, 38 million fans. So the fan base is huge here in Mexico. Obviously, we have some really casual fans that only watch the sport or the NFL during the playoffs, during the Super Bowl. all other avid fans that watch everything. And I estimate that roughly 10% of that fan base are playing fantasy football. And that's like 3.5 million fantasy football players right now, only in Mexico. But it has spread through Latin America. Spain, fans in Spain are playing fantasy football very deep with IDP, with offensive linemen, with punters. All they have something that really minds my mind. It blows my mind. In Spain, they have only punters leagues. That's like how you do that, man. That's
Right,
the really avid fan base. And then in Central America, they're playing fantasy football. They're into NFL, Argentina, Brazil, that is part of Latin American as well. Now with the game in Sao Paulo for week 1 of this
Yeah.
season, and it's been awesome, man. NFL is really doing a great work doing the NFL international.
You just mentioned two of the countries that I still want to live in. I've lived in 5 different countries,
Oh,
and
cool. Okay.
I would like to go to Argentina. That's one that I would
Yeah.
love to go visit, and probably Costa Rica. I mean, to me, Belize is easier for me because I don't speak Spanish, and my wife looks Mexican but doesn't speak Spanish, so people always talk to her
Right.
in Spanish. But I love to see this growing internationally.
Yeah.
For years and years, my whole thing was about growing the hobby and nothing else. Just grow the hobby. Don't get paid. I didn't care about getting paid. So you did tell us before you got an Ohio State. Is that
Yeah,
a
I was
mug?
waiting for you. I was
No,
waiting
it's
for you to.
Is that a
hat.
mug?
It's
Is
a
that
cap.
a
Yeah,
mug?
blow it
No,
up.
it's a
Blow it
cap.
up right there. You got a hat right there.
Oh,
Greg.
it's
I
a
was
hat.
waiting.
It's a
Okay.
hat.
If you have,
It's
if
a
you
hat.
have
It's
the
a
audacity
J.K.
to put
Dobbins
the
signed
picture.
hat.
There
Who?
we go.
J.K. Dobbins.
I
Okay.
love it.
So everybody
Michigan.
knows I'm a Michigan guy.
Why?
Yeah.
We don't because we win, and I grew up in Michigan. We don't
Ohio
talk
State?
about
Okay.
we don't talk about
I
that
understand.
school down south. We just
Yeah, I
don't talk
understand.
about the school down south.
If you're in
So,
Michigan, it makes sense. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so you did mention that there's a certain
terrible.
Michigan player that you think is going to have a pretty good rookie season. And I want you to say that because I've been in argument after argument with people on Twitter about this player.
And,
Tell
and
me who it is.
And the thing, Greg, is I wasn't hyped about that player in my pre-draft process. But after the draft and after the Rams invested hugely in a running back, Blake Corum seems more than a fantasy sleeper for me. I love it in Dynasty. I love it in redraft. Kyron Williams should be scared of Blake Corum and should be scared of what Sean McVay have prepared for Blake Corum because his skill set is really, really nice and adapt to that offense hugely.
I read something and I had to go double check it. Blake Corum is bigger and faster than Kyron Williams. I went out and I looked at Kyron Williams' Pro Day 40, and Blake Corum is a full tenth of a second faster than Williams. Kyron Williams is only 194 pounds. So I don't care if you think Blake Corum is 205, his weight at the combine, or 213, what he actually played at last year. He's still bigger than Kyron Williams. I see a 50-50 split. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And actually, I think the NFL teams are thinking on committees, not in running backs that complement each other, but that could be interchangeable each other. So similar running backs could be on a committee like Blake Corum and Kyron Williams, like Jalen Wright probably with Raheem Mostert. I'd probably, the example is not exact, but Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, after I think it's week 9, week 10, their workload was really, really similar. You don't have only Jahmyr Gibbs on passing plays or David Montgomery on the red zone or goal line. They were very interchangeable. And I think the NFL teams are embracing this running back by committee thing, and Blake Corum and Kyron Williams are similar guys, and they can be usable. I agree with a 50-50 approach. Yeah.
Hey, Mauricio, I think that's a great point about the NFL offenses because then you kind of tilt your hand too much. If this guy's coming in, well, he only, and 90% of his plays have been, this direction, or he's gone out for a pass, or yada, yada. Kind of makes your offense look a little more tilted unless you're running a sneak play. But I think you're right because look at Green Bay as well. Josh Jacobs, A.J. Dillon, drafted the running back out of USC. I'm blanking on his name right now. But all three of those kind of more powerful, can get on the edge still and get around people as well. So I totally agree with you. And for my second question, I'm going to ask it to you again this way. And it relates back to rookies pretty broad. This includes IDP. This includes punters, even if you want it. Okay, Mauricio? So however you want to go with it. Okay.
There was one taken early. There was a punter drafted early.
Yeah, don't be mad at me, but I don't do IDP. My Guadalajara league, my home league, we do IDPs, but it's only one or I think it's two IDPs. So it really doesn't matter. You take a linebacker and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. The best week, the Semana, who's going to do the best. But you do play IDP now, so don't slide it. Your home league is IDP, so you're working at my heart.
One
tranquilo.
IDP.
It's like a streamer, right? Yeah, like you said, who wants to do it? But
just stream IDPs.
Here's the rookie question for you, my friend. All right, here we go, Primo.
¿Qué novato podría terminar entre los 16 primeros en cualquier posición?
Did you catch that?
That's a nice question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which rookie, any position can have a top 16 rookie season, right?
Top 16 performance for fantasy football purpose. The reason I'm playing because I'm playing 16 team leagues. I like that. So that would be a 1 by my definition. Fantasy football 1.
A top 16 season in his first season. I think about 2 players right now. I love Jaden Daniels on redraft for this year. I have him as a top 12 QB in my rankings right away. He's a really good QB. He's not only the one that's going to give you the rushing upside, but also as a QB, it's really, really good one. So Jaden Daniels is in a good situation. And also Marvin Harrison. I mean, Marvin Harrison could have a top 12 season this year with Kyler Murray. Some, at least here in the Latin American community, some are skeptical of Kyler Murray. But my point is, Kyler Murray has had prolific wide receivers in fantasy football in the past. DeAndre Hopkins is one. Why don't Marvin Harrison could be that guy for Kyler Murray? I think it's a no-brainer for me. Marvin Harrison, it's elite, and I really love him this year.
I actually liked Neighbors over Harrison before the draft, but I don't like Neighbors' landing spot. So I've got to ask you, you mentioned Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
He was my 3rd-ranked quarterback going into the draft. Drake May was my 1st. Caleb Williams is not. He was my 4th.
Wow.
J.J. McCarthy, remember in the audience, remember that name. J.J. McCarthy was my number 2. But since landing in Minnesota, I mean, I can't think of I don't think Caleb Williams is in a better system for quarterback success than J.J. McCarthy. And Caleb Williams did not win a single game against a ranked opponent last year. 0-4. And his numbers went down. He didn't elevate his game against the competition. J.J. McCarthy did just the opposite. With 5 minutes left to go in the game against Alabama, he drove the Wolverines 75 yards to tie the game. And then Corum took over in the overtime to win it. But what do you think of McCarthy? Is he potentially a top 12 quarterback?
I think so. Probably not in 2024 right away, but 2025 and beyond, I think J.J. McCarthy could be a top 12 QB. I mean, with the arms he's surrounded by, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, now Aaron Jones, or probably another back in a few years. J.J. McCarthy is on one of the best situations a rookie QB could land it. So I think he's going to be a really, really good fantasy football QB.
Thank you, Mauricio. I love you, even though you are sporting the OSU in the background. I'm going to turn it over to Iggy in a minute. I've got to ask you one question about your history. because this is about the history of fantasy football. Now that you're a content creator,
Yeah.
do you do most of your work written or video? And has it always been that way?
Actually, now the most content I generate is through video and podcast. That's the biggest percentage of my content. But I started writing articles. Was my first approach to the content generator world, and but times have changed. At least here in Mexico and Latin America, people don't used to read that much. And now with the short form videos, with the podcast, I think it's a better way to deliver the information, the analysis, and that's the way I'm delivering right now. Video, podcast, and articles, not that much now. I actually I miss writing because I do research for my podcast and my video as well. But for writing, I was a really deeper than now, and I miss that stuff. But people don't consume that much the writing content.
Iggy, you're muted.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We do see that a lot as well over here in the TSA. The video is just the name of the era, right? That's just part of it. What advice would you have for people that might be starting out, either in the Latino community, because I have my Mexican flag back here as well. We'll hang it up as well. I consider myself a Latino, and I love it because of my father. But I loved writing as well. I've wrote academically, but I love sports, and being able to write about sports or make videos about sports is really awesome. But what piece of advice would you maybe have for somebody that's just now starting new, like I said, Latino or anywhere in the world?
Probably it's going to sound simple, Iggy, Greg, the ones that are hearing us, but it's not that much. Is do it. If you want to generate content, do it. And the other thing, once you are doing it, be constant. You have to be constant with delivering your content. For me, my mindset when I was starting is that if I have 1 people reading my article, 2 people, 5 people hearing my podcast, I have now a responsibility with them to deliver the content every week, because there's someone expecting that content now. So that mindset was, I really didn't care about how many people were watching me or were reading my articles, but I just needed 1 to read them. And that's how my mindset worked, and it worked for me, and I think can work for anyone.
I got to believe that Touchdown in Familia out of Mexico is a friend of yours.
Yeah, of course.
And
Tames. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it's great to have an international audience. And that's one thing that video does for you, is that you can get online and do it all. Now, I would add, not only be confident in what you say, be consistent. If you're going to do a weekly, do a weekly. If you're going to do 5 a week, do 5 a week, but do it every week. Be consistent, because once you get an audience, you're absolutely right. You have a responsibility to the audience. If people want to find you and they don't have access to NFL in Español, where do they find your work?
Well, I actually have my own podcast and my own brand. It's Estadio Fantasy. It's a website, the first Spanish fantasy football site in the world. EstadioFantasy.com, started in 2013. And also, last year, I started with Player Profiler, a podcast named Player Profiler en Español. Player Profiler is interested in growing the content generator in Spanish, so we have that podcast now.
Iggy,
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and I do want to say what's up to Pac, man. I appreciate you being on the show, coming and hanging out with us. He was in Fantasy Football Sevens. I believe we had 5 people from Mexico in Fantasy Football Sevens last year. So represented. Cool. Pac was in a tough division, though. He ended up the winner, ended up coming out of his division. That guy's in Brazil. Won back-to-back. What is you talked about the Keys Classic. I dream of winning that belt as well. I dream of being able to parade around and at the expo and out here where people don't even know what it is, right? I want to win that as well. But since you've won it, how many times have you won your home league? Is that one always the most special to you when you do win with the league in Guadalajara? Or is there anything else like the Kings Classic or something along those lines that are really sentimental to you? And how do you keep those leagues sentimental? Is it just the same people? Is it because you've been a part of it so long? Because I know there's people out there probably in like year 3 or 4 maybe of a league that they played in. How do you keep it rolling?
Obviously, the leagues I participate with analysts and friends in the States have a special place in my season. But like you said, my home league is really, really special because it's with my longtime friends, probably friends that I have for 15 years. And it's really tough to win that type of leagues because it's people that know your content, know how you are going to draft, know what you are going to do next. Like, for instance, if I send a trade in that league, everyone thinks that I'm cheating or something, that I know something that they don't. So it's really tough to win that league. That's my favorite. I've won that league 2 times now.
All right, dude. That's my home league. I only won the first year, so I've been constantly trying to win it back, and we're going to be in year 13 or 14 this next year. So I do want to say, what's up, Wild Rosie? Thank you for participating. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yep.
And
I got to tell you, Mauricio, I've often said one of the things that I love about fantasy football and being a content creator is the challenge to beat people who know what you're thinking because you put it out there makes it all that much sweeter when you do.
It's like playing poker with open cards.
Yeah.
It's really tough. It's really tough.
That is it.
And I wanted to say something about Pac Tames. He's a content generator as well, Raiders fan.
Yep.
And he has a really, really made something that probably we doesn't see that much in the industry or in the NFL, well, in the fans base, in the community. He started to play fantasy football with his daughter.
Yep.
She was like 9, 10 years old, I think, or probably even younger. And she was really, really into fantasy football. Actually, they played one season, the Scottish Bowl, together. And the next season, Steffi, his daughter, wanted a team by herself. And that's awesome. It was really, really awesome to see that you can. Fantasy football is not only about friendship, it's also about family. You can do a family league with your cousins, with your primos, with your tios, with your daughter, with your sons. It's really, really amazing. And that thing that Pac and Steffi has been doing, it's really, really awesome. Really, really congrats, Pac. I'm really proud of it.
Scott Fish has a 10-year-old son named Ian.
Yeah, Ian.
Who finished higher than I did. I'm a Hall of Famer, and he finished in the Scott Fish Bowl higher than I did, probably higher than Iggy and JC too. I mean, he did really well.
Yeah.
So
the young minds are really, really good at fantasy football.
They're great at everything, anything game related. That's why the best gamers come from that age.
Right.
Is there a category for best, other, like outside of the United States in the FSWA? Have you been nominated for an SFWA award for any of your work, Mauricio?
Yeah, for the Fantasy Sports Writing Association, we were nominated at NFL Fantasy in Español for Best Short Video in 2000. It was 2000, I think, 22.
Nice.
You self-nominate?
We didn't won, but we were nominated. Yeah,
I thought you were. I thought that was correct. Yeah, I thought
do you self-nominate, or did somebody else nominate you?
We self-nominated us, but it was really surprising, Greg, because I didn't expect to be nominated with a non-English content and to compete with English content. You know, for us, it's really tough to nominate our content because I don't know if I have to translate first and then resend it to them. The podcasts are really tough to translate, the videos as well. The articles, it's certainly easily, but the video and the podcast is hard, and it was an honor to be nominated for that in the FSWA in 2022.
I won in-season article or series of the year in 2004. I didn't nominate.
Congrats.
Back then, I don't think anybody nominated themselves. Somebody else nominated me. I went into the Hall of Fame. I didn't nominate myself for that. I still, to this day, think Bob Harris should have gone in before I did, because I learned everything I know from Bob Harris. Is there a fantasy expert? I don't like that term, because expert
I don't like it
implies a
either.
certain level of knowledge, and
Yeah.
this is such a hard field that you're going to be wrong. If you're right 60% of the time, you're an expert
Of
in
course.
this field. So Bob Harris is my favorite OG.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite? The guy that you listen to, or gal that you listen to, that you take, I don't want to say advice, but you take direction from?
Back in the days when I started to consume content, it was Matthew Berry. It was him from ESPN, from the magazines, and also Michael Fabiano from NFL when he was in NFL. Those were the two guys that have the most fan base here in Mexico, or the ones that we really consume. Then, after knowing both of them, I drag into the content. I needed more and more and more to go deeper. Bob Harris, of course, John Daigle, Evan Silva, Liz Loza as well from her Yahoo days. And there's so many I've listened to and I really respect in this industry. But the best thing about generating content, like you said, Greg, is not to win prizes or awards. Is the people you know in the industry, the friends that you make, and that's been awesome. That's been really, really awesome. One of my best decisions in my life was to attend the Fantasy Football Expo and to really know the people that I was talking through DMs, and that's been awesome.
18 months ago, I didn't know Iggy. I didn't know JC. They're lifelong friends now. They are. You're absolutely right. And I tell people, if you last in this hobby for 10 years, you're a good person, because the hobby will expose the bad ones that get in. There are bad ones that get in, but they'll get exposed by the hobby, and 10 years they'll be gone. But Bob Harris says, Matt Berry went into the Hall of Fame the year I did. We went in together. I always thought his view of fantasy, he combined humor with professional writing.
That's right.
And so I loved his style. But when I wanted to know what's up, I went to Bob Harris. I just always went to Bob.
Yeah, Bob Harris is a legend in the industry, and he's been really nice with me all the time since the first time I'd met him. He's been awesome. He's a friend now, and it's awesome. And last year, I know I met you, Greg, and I was like, wow, another Hall of Famer that I get to know in this industry, and it was amazing. And then after we roughly met, it was before the Kings Classic draft started, and then you went to our room, and I have this in my mind, like in my head, every time that I think of you, Greg, and for me it's like, wow, a Hall of Famer told me that I was doing great in a fantasy football draft, and that was after I took Roshan Johnson.
And you won. You won, right?
Yeah, and I won that
And
league.
you won.
Yeah, I won that league.
I didn't
actually.
lie to you. I
Yeah.
didn't lie. And Mauricio, I'm going to let Iggy go, but I got to tell you, you are now a lifelong friend. If you ever need anything from me,
Thank you.
ask.
Yeah, me too. Me too. We're friends forever, and that's awesome. And that's what you want from the industry. And I think it's an industry that is very friendly. Like, and I say this all the time. I told Kevin when I was in his podcast, Kevin Murray, that when you attend the expo, you feel like you are with family, and that's awesome.
Gemma just agreed with Emma. Okay, sorry, Emma.
Yeah.
Just agreed with Sam about the relationships being the keys to the car.
Yeah,
and
they're very important.
Wild Rosie is going to the expo this year for the first time. Rosie,
Nice.
I'm going to tell you, find us. We
Yeah.
will talk to you. We'll break bread with you. I know that the TSA crew is going to get together for a dinner one of the nights, and you and your wife are more than welcome to join us, Mauricio. We'd love to have you there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of all that, Hima, we had a great time. There's a couple of fantasy football expo experiences I want to talk about specifically, Mauricio. But we do, Greg, we can't forget, we do have a Scott Fish Bowl golden ticket going to be given out tonight. So get in there, JC, get the people in here. We're about to get to this pretty soon, I think. Greg, at about, what do we want to call it, around 40? When we get live at about 40 minutes, you can drop that name. But I do want to remind everybody, don't leave. We appreciate you all being here. Like the show for us, subscribe it for us. And Mauricio, I want to get into something because, one of the most famous parts of it, because it is after all the buzz of it all, you get the karaoke night, right? And this night, this year they had it at Doubletree. Last year they had it at, what's the cantina? What's the restaurant over there that they have it at?
José's Landing.
José's Landing, yeah. So, that is kind of if you're going for the first year Wild Rosie, I don't know if you've got your flight back, but you want to stick around for that because the networking, all that stuff that you do throughout the whole time, it's fun. And then the last night we got the karaoke and you get to see people come out of the shell. And then Hima, and I believe it was Renee, right? Or who else was it? Hima and Renee, where we sung Selena. That was our karaoke song. We were all out there giving the grito and dancing around. What do you remember about, the karaoke night, and what is your favorite story or anything from that specific moment of karaoke night? Because we have a lot of them. We could spend the whole hour just talking about karaoke night. So
karaoke night is awesome, man. The first time I attend, I was really, really tired on Sunday, and I was like, no, man, I think I'm done with the partying at the expo. I really partied really hard on Friday and on Saturday. And everyone was like, no, you have to go. It's really amazing. It was at José's Landing. So we went to José's Landing and it was awesome. I didn't expect that much people there because the bar is really, really tight, but it was jam-packed with expo attendees and it was awesome. Eric Frodden is a showman at karaoke night. You can't miss his songs. He's really, really awesome. That's one of the best.
I heard Scott Engel puts on a good show.
Yeah, Scott Engel as well. He is a showman. I don't know how he does it to have that energy all the time.
Yeah, he does.
It's incredible, man. I'm 42. And Scott Engel has double the energy that I have on Sunday night, on karaoke night. And it's awesome.
We got to get you into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We got to get you into the Hall of Fame because once you're in, you got energy.
Yeah, that's the secret.
That's what I'm missing. So I need that energy, Greg.
And if you don't know who Eric is, he's on NBC. He's one of the best college guys out there. If you got a rookie question, you go look up at Eric's stuff, and he'll have it there for you, no doubt about it. He sung karaoke without even looking at the words. Him and Scott both. They don't need the prompter. They're out there moving around, but neither did him and Renee. They were singing as well. Selena, we had the bitty bitty bum bum going. We were dancing. That was a great time. Greg, go ahead.
Another one was when Jorge Martin from Yahoo and Rottweiler, he sang Sweet Caroline, and wow, it was amazing, man. Really, really good moment. I think Kevin Murray has posted a video about that, and it's really, really awesome.
No, that was a good moment too, as well.
I am going to be taking photos and videos of the entire expo and doing at least an hour-long review for Bob. And
nice, Greg.
At karaoke, I promise to come. I promise to video. I promise, just to save you guys, not to sing. I know better than that. But I got to know, Mauricio, are you going to sing La Bamba?
No, probably not. I'm a terrible singer. Some people are going to tell you that's not true, but it's true. You don't want to hear me singing.
Emma, in the notes. Emma, is he terrible or is he okay?
Yeah, pero baila muy bien though, right? You're a good dancer though, right? You got that part.
More or less. I don't really like to dance that much, but I do my
You can be the background dancer for Iggy.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? Just tell me which song you are going to sing, and I do the choreography.
I want him to do the La Bamba. I want to see La Bamba.
I could do the tequila, but we need a real drummer because then all I got to do is go, tequila. We could both sing that one. That's one word, man. No problem there, So.
Your turn, Iggy. Your turn.
No, okay. So let's see. Wait
a minute. Emma answered. I love it when he sings. There you go.
I sing terrible.
Canta. Do it now.
No.
Give us the.
You don't want me to sing, really.
You could bust out El Rey or El Volver, we could bust out some Hernandez here. We'll bust out some culture. I was just going to ask you real quick, and Greg, we do got to get to that Michigan question right after this, just to get people in there. Okay. JC, I see you bringing people in right now. Thanks, man. And before we get to the fun party in the basement, we'll save that for the end of the show that we went to. I do want to ask you a real fantasy football question. Who do you see having a good rebound here? And that includes injuries for me. It could be somebody that performed under expectation. It could be somebody you expect to just, have an injury and bounce back this year. It could be a new coordinator. It could be anything you want, Mauricio. Who do you see having a bounce back year for this upcoming year, 2024?
That's a good question, Iggy. I have in mind Travis Etienne. I think Travis Etienne could have a really nice season.
Derek Pitts. He's got Cousins as the quarterback.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts. Hey, guys, we got to go to the question. Now, there was a Michigan quarterback taken with the 10th pick in the draft. And if you want to win that golden ticket, right now in the chat, again, if you've already got an invite, don't enter, put in his last name. If you know what JJ's last name is, put it in.
JJ. But real quick, Mauricio, you were saying you think Travis Etienne's going to have a good year. Why do you think that is?
Probably a top 8 season. I know the Jaguars drafted another running back this year. They did it last year. But Travis Etienne has the profile to be a 3-down back. And the Travis Etienne could be used in the passing game. I know that Gabe Davis is in the team. They drafted Brian Thomas. There's Christian Kirk and Evan Engram. But Travis Etienne is going to be a crucial part of this team. I love the talent. I love the skill set of Travis Etienne. And I think he seems like he didn't... We expected a lot from him last year. And I think this year, people are not going to see that that hype on Travis Etienne, and that could be a sneaky value.
Yeah, so you think he could be falling on draft boards, you think? Is that what you're
probably,
expecting? And do you play best ball? Are you a best ball participant?
Yeah, I'm at some best ball. Not money, only but for hobby. And I really enjoy baseball. It's a format I really, really like it.
I've only done 2 this year, but I think he has already slipped compared to where he was last year, with the Jaguars.
We're going to start doing some mock drafts. And I told JC we ought to do them on Sleeper and basically turn them into best balls.
That's awesome.
No cost. And so, Mauricio, will you and Hema draft with us?
Of course, yeah.
We'd love to have y'all. Yeah, Greg, back to you. Do you have a question that you'd like to ask?
Oh, well, are we ready to run with the thing, or is this still going? If you missed the question, because I saw Fish and Wendy just come in, you got to give the last name of the Michigan quarterback that was drafted if you want a chance at the golden ticket. So, just try to get that. Mauricio, if you had to pick a information site, I used to back in the day love Hot Off the Wire that was run basically by a guy named William Del Pilar. And William's a good friend. He was with Ryan Bonini and KFFL.
Right.
But it was basically a news feed. Is there any news feed like that that's free and available that you use?
Well, the best site, if you want content in Spanish, obviously StadioFantasy.com.
Right, exactly.
Had to do it. And in English, I really like what Fantasy Life are doing right now. It's a free site, and they're building a really, really great team over there. And paid sites, probably Player Profiler, obviously, and also 444. I really enjoyed that site.
444 is good. I
Yeah.
always used to like Draft Sharks. I
Yeah,
used
of
to
course.
write for Fantasy Sharks, Football Guys, and Gridiron Grumblings back in the day. But it's because, like you said, I knew the people. Lenny Papano, Draft Sharks. Tony Holm was Fantasy Sharks. Mr. Football was David Dodds. Joe Bryant was and still is Football Guys.
Yeah, Football Guys.
And Whitney Walters and David Dory were the Huddle. These are people I grew up in the industry with. I think you hit it. You nailed it. It's about the relationships you make. Is there any person, English speaking, that is like that for you right now?
Like
That
what?
you know
Sorry,
you
I
can
missed-
pick up the phone and call an English speaking
Okay.
person
I have.
and
Yeah.
get good advice. Is there one
Liz-
person?
Yeah, Liz Loza, no doubt. Liz Loza was one of the first that attend my DMs messages when I was starting to generate content. She actually invited me to participate in a Yahoo podcast episode, like probably 5-6 years ago, and she's really awesome. Every time I need advice, I text her, and she's awesome. She's a legend. I Not only for me but for the industry. I think Liz Loza is going to be a Hall of Famer. I have no doubt about that.
Is she part of the Women of Fantasy Football group?
I think so. I think she has participated on that. Yeah,
Okay.
probably. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Your turn, Iggy.
Hey, JC, just let us know. I can still see you. I didn't know how long you wanted this to go, JC. I saw a couple more coming in right there with Spidey's and so forth. So remember,
Let's go.
who is the name of the name of the last Michigan player drafted? Rich, if you haven't got in, what's up, Rich? Glad to see you here, sir. And
Not
the
last Michigan player, the Michigan quarterback, last name of the Michigan quarterback.
quarterback that was drafted in the 10th round. There you go. One more time.
No, with the 10th pick. He was drafted in the first round. This guy hates Michigan. He hates Michigan, Mauricio.
Well, I gotta help, especially if our guest has an Ohio State hat. I mean, you know what? I mean, I got something right here for you, Greg. You gotta keep talking.
I can stand that just for sake of a Scott Fishbowl golden ticket.
Hey,
that's it.
I gotta ask you a question. If I bring you a brand spanking new Michigan hat, will you put it on your shelf behind you?
No way, Greg.
Oh,
no way.
Man.
I'm sorry. I love you, but no, that's too much.
It should go right above the Ohio State one because we've won the last 3 times and we've got 20 more wins than they do in the head-to-head series.
I know.
Oh, man.
I know. It's really tough to be a Ohio State fan right now, but it is what it is. Yeah. We had a great streak. If you see win streak, yeah.
Win streak, yeah. You had a good run. You definitely had a good run. I got the fight song playing for you. It's the Ohio State fight song. Not sure.
Oh
Greg
God.
We're gonna get a soundbite soon for Greg. You know, every time he says Michigan, we're
Hail
gonna have
to the victors.
Did you
That's
see,
why I don't sing.
Greg, did you see that Harbaugh sung it before their draft? He sang it to the whole draft room. He sung the Michigan fight
did
song.
not see that, but I did see that Harbaugh picked up Cornelius Bennett, wide receiver out of Michigan, which kind of surprised me.
And Harbaugh got a Michigan tattoo as well.
Yeah. Well, he should. He played quarterback for him before he coached him.
Of course.
I mean, well, yeah, you won a national championship. I think you should just get a tattoo. That should just be a law, right?
I won a Kings Classic, and I wanted a tattoo about that.
So, do you have a tattoo for the Kings Classic?
I'm going to get it soon.
You know what? I'll do it too. If you do it, I'll do that as well. JC, I got to win it though first. You're already there. So, JC, how are we looking? Thumbs up, thumbs down. How you feeling about right now? Thumbs up. Do you want to do it right now, or do you want to save it for the very end of the show, Greg? Because I do have a story.
I'd like to do it now so that we can ask a couple questions after it.
Okay, let's do it. JC, go ahead and hop in here with us, man.
What's up, everybody? Gonna get the
Casey.
duck
How you doing?
race rolling. Let me get that. Let me add the screen real quick.
I can't believe Greg is going with the Viking as a Lions fan. He made us all say a
Oh
Minnesota
no,
Viking.
I want the Vikings. I want the Vikings to have a beautiful fantasy season, but lose to the Lions in the regular NFL.
I
Hi,
don't.
Wendy. Hey, Mel. Hey, Rosie.
Hey, back,
Is
Steffi.
it, hey, Steffi, how's it going? ¿Cómo está? ¿Todo bien?
Steffi.
All
All
right.
right,
Well,
so we're gonna get the duck race. We just need a time here. We gotta get a time.
Okay, well, I am 68 years old. We used 68 last time. So, Iggy, how old are you?
I'm 37, so that's going to be a
Okay,
shorter race.
Mauricio, how old are you?
I'm 42.
That's it right there, Mauricio.
Okay.
42 seconds.
It's
Here
going
we
to be
go.
a fast race.
For the
Here we
Scott
go.
Fishbowl. Here we
This
go.
is
This
for
is
the
better than
golden
Kentucky Derby.
ticket.
I got to say, last night, the one that was furthest behind ended up coming back and winning. So don't count yourself out.
Mel got the clown duck. Come on, Mel.
Let's go, Mel. Got the clown duck. And Mel, I will have my IDP stuff coming out within the next 2 weeks.
18 seconds. Here we go, everyone.
Whoa, Mel's coming up.
There we go.
Mel's coming up.
Who's it
Mel.
gonna be?
The final 10.
Oh,
Doing a
on the
doing a
outside,
comeback.
Rosie.
Oh,
Pete. Is it gonna be
oh,
Pete? Pete.
It's gonna be a
is.
photo.
It is big.
Well deserved,
All
Pete.
right.
Well
All right,
deserved.
Primo. That's Pedro Sandoval.
All right, so Pete, you need to DM JC your email and your Twitter handle so we can get it to Scott.
All right, Sandoval. It's a Bears fan. So we've just circled this all the way around. We had a Lions fan give us a Vikings name, and a Chicago Bear won it, and I'm a Packers owner.
Yeah. All the NFC North representing.
Your turn, Iggy.
Okay, I do have to ask you a question. First off, did you watch WrestleMania? Because I know you're a big wrestling fan, but I don't think that you're as big a fan as the WWF as you are. Which league in Mexico? Which wrestling federation is that?
Yeah, AAA.
AAA. That's right. The AAA.
AAA. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
he
one
just
that made
reminded me.
Triple Mania.
Iggy just reminded me that you guys went to a party last year, and while everybody else is partying, you're screaming in Spanish at a TV that had what was on the TV, Mauricio?
Triple Mania, actually.
Yeah,
It was the biggest fight of the year. Like WWE has WrestleMania. Here in Mexico, we have AAA. It's the biggest event, the Lucha Libre biggest event, and we were watching that it was at Chris. Yeah, it was at Chris.
It was Sam was there. I don't know who was running out that
Eric
place.
Frottern.
Yeah.
Sam
Drake was there.
Waldman.
And when
Drake
you guys
was
went back to the hotel, I heard the van was so loaded that certain people were sitting on other people's laps.
Yeah, where were you? Where were you in that match?
I was in my room sleeping.
I know.
I was
where were
at
you
the
in
back.
the van?
I was at the back at the trunk. I had Richie River just like besides me, and I have another guy like just on me. It was really
Sardines.
uncomfortable. Yeah, we were sardine.
We were beyond sardines. We were Tetris because on the way there it was me, you, and Drake and JC in the back, and we were really put together like Tetris. And then I was like, I'm not doing that on the way back. That's why I was like going there. But I do remember, and that is the Triple A Mania, will it be going on again while we are at at the expo this year, or is it a different date? Do you know?
I don't know if it's a different date. I haven't watched what date is going to be, but probably yeah, because it's always almost that weekend.
Yeah, I mean Drake knew the wrestlers as well. That was pretty cool to watch.
Somebody must have got you on video. Somebody must have got you on video doing that.
I'm actually that this could be a spoiler alert. I'm going to try to do it. I'm not sure if I can do it, but I'm trying to buy some luchador masks to give away at the Fantasy Football Expo.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
represent, man, with the luchadores there. And that
Yeah.
was just a fun trip. I mean, like Greg, we couldn't get that was a no video party, okay, happening down there.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that
not
was
this
fun.
year. I'm documenting everything.
Greg is going to
Okay.
document everything.
I'm going to document. I've got people that are going to try to document every Scott Fish live draft. I haven't heard back from
Great.
Lithuania yet. I haven't heard back from London, but
Down
I'm
with
trying
Mexico.
to get. Okay, so Mexico City, you and
Yeah.
him, 10 pictures, 3 or 4 short videos of the events,
Cool.
and I think 3 to 5. I call them short form interviews where you just ask 3 questions, basically.
Right. Okay.
And I
Yeah,
think I
no
sent
problem.
those to you already, and you said you'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, in case anybody's watching, where's that going to be hosted in DF? Where's that going to be at?
It's in Ciudad de Mexico. It's going to be in a barbecue house that is called Pinche Gringo Barbecue.
Gringo?
Pinche Gringo.
Yeah, the
What's
first part.
what's the first word?
All right, we
It's
can't,
a
we
bad
can't
word.
say that
English.
on there.
In
We can't
English.
say that
I know
right now.
gringo. What's
I
the
can't
first
say-
word mean?
Hey, I'll tell you, Greg, it's freaking, but it's not freaking, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, oh my God.
They're lousy. You can say lousy Gringo. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm full of love. Doesn't matter.
Hey, I bet
Mexico,
it's good food.
Mexico through 2 generations gave me the woman of my dreams, so I don't care.
Oh, yeah, that's a word.
wish I could-
Pinche.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm glad. But hey, yeah, if you're catching this later, maybe they're still. Is it already all filled? Are y'all still looking for seats? Or
No.
is it already all spoken?
We have,
Spoken
I
for.
think we have 3 or 4 seats left. We're going
How
to,
So there you go.
we're going to have 4 drafts.
Oh
well,
wow!
in Houston, if you want to drive up to Houston, we're looking for a 4th division, so we need
Cool.
probably 8 or 9 more people. Tipp just got an invite so that he could live draft in Houston with me. So
That's
he'll
awesome.
be drafting there, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm
live-
really
live
looking
drafts.
forward to this.
Live drafts are really, really awesome. One thing that I always said to people in the fantasy football community here in Mexico, Latin America, is try to do at least one live draft in your life. It's really, really awesome. It's a different vibe that you got to be drafting live. I don't know what it is, but the vibe that you get to put on a sticker on the board, on the draft board, it's awesome, man. It's really, really awesome.
Is
I
there
agree.
is there a way that you tricked Emma into playing fantasy football? Because I can't get my wife to participate.
Well, Hemo has been an NFL fan since she was a little girl because all her family watches NFL. We're living up north in Mexico, and many people watch NFL here. And actually, she played flag football for some time, and then she knew fantasy football through me. And the instance that she knew what it was, she was like, I want to be part of that, and she started playing in some leagues, and now she generates content as well.
Iggy says that he plays flag football, but the way I watched him play, he plays tackle. and his excuse, he laid out a wide receiver. I mean, laid him out. His excuse was, well, I had a right to the ball.
Hey, I'm not lying, right? You got to use. You know, they're making it so hard for the defensive guys out there. We got to make sure we get every inch. They give you a foot, you become a ruler, Greg.
Yeah, where can we find him as content?
Well, also in NFL Fantasy en Español and Football Girls and on the field as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
on the field, is that a website?
Yeah, it's a website. It's a new website that girls are building.
Okay, can you text me the link and I'll put it in to the recaps for this.
Yeah,
I got to thank you very much, Mauricio. You're always welcome to come on. If you ever need anything from the TSA,
thank you.
If Iggy won't do it, I will. You just tell me what you need and we'll take care of you.
I know I can count with both of you guys and JC and Pete and all the TCA family. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm trying to get them to upgrade their website, and that's kind of Iggy's deal.
Yeah.
I would love to get a link to your NFL Español that we can display on our website.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I just like to build up a links page of people that we trust and people who we like. And you're
Thanks.
you're both. So
Thanks, Greg.
thank you so much for coming
of
on,
course.
Mauricio.
Anytime.
Iggy, thank you for filling in for a Tip. And JC, behind the scenes, if he wants to come on, he's welcome to. Thank you, JC, we covered the draft bell to bell. Actually, we started an hour before Thursday because my Thursday show is an hour before. And then we went the entire Thursday, the entire Friday, and the entire Saturday. And then I believe on Sunday, TSA had a wrap-up show.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that JC's still alive.
No, I do
Great
appreciate
work,
it.
Great work.
And thank you for being here once again. Please,
barely alive.
Please
The
remind
fans,
everybody where.
the fans, thank you so much. Sorry, Iggy, go.
No, you're good. Yeah, thank y'all all for joining us. Like I said, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please go follow Mauricio over on Twitter or X. And also, what's your YouTube channel again? What's the name of it, Mauricio?
M. Gutierrez NFL. All my platforms and social media, it's M. Gutierrez NFL.
All right. I really appreciate it. Greg, any last comments? Congratulations again to Pete. Pedro, I'm glad you won it. Primo, I'm glad you got that Scott Fishbowl entry. Hopefully, we can do another one of these. No promise. Really appreciate Scott for giving us a golden ticket and getting somebody deserving into the Scott Fishbowl.
Next Wednesday on the girls' show.
They got a
Wednesday,
second ticket?
Yeah, they got another one. Yep.
There you go. Just like that. So if you want to get in the Scott Fishbowl, join us next Wednesday for the Game Changers. An excellent show.
8:30 Eastern. 8:30 Eastern on Wednesday.
8:30 Eastern. Yeah, that's all I got for me. JC, if you want to take us out of here, I really appreciate everybody listening. And Mauricio, just please stick around and we'll thank you for joining us.